The tragedy of one-sided friendship, when giving leaves you empty. It's a silent ache, almost embarrassing to admit aloud in a world obsessed with popularity and connection, the slow death of belief in true friendship. Not the superficial type, the kind traded for social capital or convenience, but the deep, rooted bond that doesn't dissolve under the weight of life's messiness. So many have searched for it, only to find mirages that vanish when need arises. It's a lament quietly echoed across time. Some compare friendship to diamonds, rare, costly, and surrounded by fakes. Others speak of it as a relic of youth, something we imagine in the idealism of childhood and mourn in the realism of adulthood. A friend is someone to be treasured, one man says, but there are rarely any you can really value. The older you get, the more these words strike not as pessimism but as clarity, a truth earned through bruises. For those who give fully, who offer time, energy, and loyalty without condition, the world often responds with exploitation or neglect. And each betrayal, each unreciprocated effort, chips away at the soul. Eventually, the giver begins to hesitate. Not because they've lost their capacity to love, but because they've been taught that loving so openly often ends in being left alone. The weight of repeated disappointment. Disappointment is not just a momentary sting, it is cumulative. It builds quietly with every unanswered message, every broken promise, every one-sided effort to hold a connection together. And over time, what was once eagerness becomes caution. Hope turns into skepticism. Enthusiasm is replaced by emotional fatigue. Haruki Murakami's words in Norwegian would cut deep into this transformation. I don't like being alone. I just don't make any extra acquaintances. I don't want to be disappointed in people. This is not a desire for solitude, it's a survival instinct. It's what happens when the pain of false connection outweighs the benefits of human contact. Murakami's character speaks for many, people who once reached out with open hearts and now walk with guarded silence. People who would rather endure loneliness than the deeper suffering that comes from being let down again. In Stoic philosophy, we are reminded that we cannot control other people, only our response to them. The wise man, said Epictetus, learns to withdraw his hopes from the external world and find his peace within. And for some, that withdrawal is not out of bitterness, but wisdom hard-won. The parable of the apple tree, a heartbreaking allegory. At the center of this reflection is a parable that illustrates, in devastating clarity, the nature of one-sided relationships, the story of the boy and the apple tree. It begins innocently enough. A young boy finds joy and comfort in the shade of a generous tree. He climbs its branches, eats its fruit, laughs in its presence. The tree is alive, radiant with purpose, because it is loved. But time, as it always does, alters the nature of the bond. As the boy grows, so do his wants. He no longer comes for joy, but for help. First, he needs money. The tree, with open-hearted generosity, offers all its apples. The boy takes them, sells them, and vanishes. No thanks. No return. Years pass. The boy reappears, now a man in need of shelter. The tree, eager to feel useful again, gives up its branches so he can build a house. Again, he takes, then disappears. Later still, the boy, older and weary, seeks escape. He wants a boat to sail away from life's burdens. The tree, now hollowed but still loyal, offers its trunk. The boy takes what remains, and leaves behind a scarred stump. The companionship, the shared joy, the mutual play of the past, all gone. What remains is only memory, and a body that has given everything. The stump is not just a metaphor, it is a mirror for anyone who has given too much. Who kept giving, even as they were slowly reduced to less and less. This is the cruelty of one-sided love, it convinces the giver that sacrifice is proof of loyalty, when in truth, it often enables ingratitude. When the heart no longer believes. What makes the story truly tragic isn't just the boy's ingratitude, it's the death of the tree's belief. After years of giving, and after having its entire being consumed for someone else's convenience, the tree no longer believes in honest and sincere friendship. This final detail is often overlooked, yet it's the most profound. Because betrayal doesn't just end a relationship, it kills something inside the person who was betrayed. It corrodes belief. It shatters innocence. It teaches a painful lesson, that love without boundaries can become self-destruction. Like soil that no longer trusts the rain, the heart that once gave freely now flinches at warmth. Even when a new soul appears, offering companionship, the tree hesitates. What if this is another cycle? What if kindness leads again to being cut down? In psychology, this is known as learned relational distrust. In philosophy, it's the cost of disillusionment. And in real life, it looks like someone who's polite but distant, generous but guarded, loyal but unreachable. The death of idealism, when cynicism becomes a shield. George Carlin once said, "Inside every cynical person is a disappointed idealist." Cynicism rarely appears at birth, it grows in the soil of unmet expectations. It begins with hope, gets watered with effort, and dies when those efforts go unacknowledged. The idealist gives people the benefit of the doubt. The cynic learned, one heartbreak at a time, why that can be dangerous. The apple tree wasn't foolish, it was faithful. It wasn't naive, it was hopeful. But that hope was taken advantage of. And like so many people in life, it had to learn the painful art of self-preservation through detachment. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful perspective. It doesn't teach us to close our hearts, but to place our peace above the reactions of others. To love, but without dependency. To give, but not to those who exploit our kindness. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That includes not letting pain turn you bitter. But it also means not returning to what broke you. Why some people appear friendless. We often misjudge solitude. We assume those who are alone must be cold, arrogant, or socially unskilled. But sometimes, the quietest people are the ones who once loved the loudest. Who showed up, gave everything, and were left holding silence. If you see someone who has no friends, ask yourself, what did they endure to reach that place? It is possible, likely even, that they were the apple tree. They gave without asking. They supported without needing recognition. And when the moment came for others to reciprocate, they found themselves alone. They learned to be cautious. To protect their peace like a fortress. Not because they dislike people, but because their experiences taught them how dangerous blind trust can be. Being alone, then, is not always a curse. Sometimes, it is a mark of integrity. A testament to how deeply a person once felt, and how many times they were forced to stop feeling just to survive. The loneliness of those who gave too much. People who have been burned by false friendships often carry a loneliness that is hard to describe. It's not just the absence of company, it's the absence of safety. Of trust. Of the feeling that someone genuinely cares, without condition or expiration date. They may smile in public. Offer help. Laugh at jokes. But inside, they move carefully. Every new interaction is filtered through memory. Every kindness is weighed against past disappointments. They are not cruel, but cautious. Not distant, but wounded. This is the emotional cost of being the apple tree. You begin with open branches and end with a scarred trunk. Yet even within that pain, there is a quiet strength. Because to have given that much and survived, to have loved that deeply and still remain kind, is no small thing. It is the hallmark of a rare soul. One that may be guarded now, but is still capable of greatness. Restoring faith in human connection. Healing is possible. But it takes time. Trust, once broken, must be rebuilt slowly, brick by brick, moment by moment. And it cannot be rushed. If you are someone who has lost faith in friendship, know this: your past doesn't define your future. There are still people out there who understand loyalty. who won't take your love for granted. But finding them requires discernment, and above all, self-respect. And if you are lucky enough to be offered someone's trust, especially from a person who's been hurt, cherish it. Do not take it lightly. Their heart is not opened by accident. It is a gift. And your response will determine whether they remain open, or retreat again into silence. A final reflection: would you sit with the tree? So when you encounter someone who walks alone, who guards their energy, who takes time to open up, pause before you judge. That person may be walking through the aftermath of emotional war. They may be rebuilding trust, one hesitant step at a time. Ask yourself, could I sit beside the apple tree without asking for its fruit? Because for every person who has given too much, there remains a part of them that still hopes, quietly, silently, that someone might come, not to take, not to fix, not to need, but just to stay. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough.